Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the most important hero that you should focus on in the first week of playing and maybe even further on. This is going to be especially important for people that started in day one, that did not play in the closed beta, because, well, if you played in the closed beta, you might have a ton of other options, but even for people like that, maybe played the closed beta but did not have a ton of resources to invest in, they might still need to do this, especially in week one. And why am I emphasizing so much week one? Well, it's basically because if you're going over here into the event, the first thing that we see is the Clepsydra torrent. What this does is basically in the first 6 days of every server that starts, you have the option to go and fully reset all of your champions. What this would do is basically reset everything, and you will get back all of your XP, all of your ascensions, and all of your gold that you used, but you will not get back your scrolls. So keep that in mind. You're not going to get back your scrolls, so be really careful when you are when you're upgrading the skill of somebody. So if you look, for example, I have not upgraded the skills for Gulal, I have not upgraded the skills for Horus. Hexandra have already upgraded because she's one of the ones that you definitely want to do that. And then Notira, again, I have not upgraded this. The reason I'm saying that is, like I said, you're not going to get these ones back. So who is that hero that you're talking? Who's the most important one in the game? Well, is this person over here, the Traveler or the Adventurer, depending, like, I don't know, sometimes they call it Traveler, sometimes Adventurer, but he is, or she, if you're going to choose a female character, is the most important one to focus on. And the reason for that is, in the first week, it's extremely hard to farm all of the dungeons that you need to upgrade your people. So as an example, the first and the most important dungeon that you will want to farm is, let's say, the Goblin. So as an example, if I go into Goblin, I did manage to go a little bit higher because I used some other one of my champions. But if you go, for example, on stage 4 of the Goblin, which maybe you should be getting there, I'm just using my free-to-play champs, okay? So I'm using the Horus that we get from day 3 login. I'm using the Notira, I'm using Hexandra, I'm even using Gulal, even though he's like meh at best, but still, I had the resources, I upgraded him, and then I'm using the Adventurer. Well, for the sake of the Goblin's Lair, the Adventurer as fire is the best one, even though he has the 3 elements that he can swap between, because he can be fire, he can be ice, and he can be lightning. The fire one is the best one because he will be the one doing a ton of damage, okay? So that's what you need. For Goblin's Lair, you really need to get yourself AoE champions, and, well, the best one for this one is the Adventurer. Having Horus do a little bit of AoE damage, even though that one was not AoE damage, and then Gulal doing some damage overall, plus Notira, if she does manage to kill somebody with her ultimate, she does some extra damage. So as an example, in this situation, the Adventurer as fire is the most important. Obviously, if you're going to start pulling more, even if they're rares, if you're going to start pulling rares that are, they have AoE hits, either on their battle skill or on their ultimate, you definitely try to swap them in, because the goal that you should have is to always try to farm the highest stages, okay? But in this situation, just straight up the Adventurer, fire is the best one. So as soon as we're gonna finish this one, I'm gonna take you into another fight to show you the an example of why he's so good and how powerful swapping between elements can be. So let's just finish the one. Okay, I'm gonna come after we finish this one, and we're gonna continue to the other dungeons. Okay, so after I showed you that we can do the Goblin's Lair, let's take ourselves, for example, into the Flame Domain, okay? So let's say I go into the Flame Domain, and stage 1, I can beat it because it's pretty easy. But then if I go into stage 2, well, there's a problem, because if you read what it says over here, fire and poison damage taken by enemies are reduced by 30%. Damage dealt to fire and poison heroes increased by 30%. So the more people that use the same element, the harder it is. If you go higher, it goes up to 60, and then it goes to, it just goes to 90 at the end. So having the Adventurer as fire will be a problem. So if I go, for example, in stage 2, I'm gonna be like, okay, he's fire, he might not be as good. It might still work for the lower stages, but I can just go upgrade, move myself to the side. I can go and switch element, and I can put him as frost, okay? He's not gonna be taking more damage, and he will not be dealing less damage. And in the frost one, he's gonna bring, for this dungeon specifically, he's gonna bring you the extra survivability that you need. Let me just swap, because I've been using some different people. But yeah, for example, for this one, the problem that this dungeon has, the flame domain, it has the fact that it brings you all the fire, okay? So by bringing all the fire damage at the boss part, you can basically get one shot if you don't have enough survivability or if you do not have a cleanser, okay? Because you're gonna see once we get there, the boss basically puts burns or HP burn. I'm not sure exactly how they're called because they keep changing it. But the boss puts burn on your people 2 times, it does a kind of an AoE, and then when it fully charges and does the ultimate, it explodes those burns. Well, if that happens, you're basically gonna get one shot. Like it's really hard for you to survive that, because even if you land the decrease attack, for example, you might have somebody that does decrease attack, like Horus on his battle skill, he can throw his hammer and place decrease attack. That does not influence the boss's decrease, the boss's damage, because it just straight up activates and consumes all the burns. Okay, so it says burns. So watch this. First time the boss gets a turn, he lands burns. See, everybody has 2-3 turns of burns. Then he does it again. Everybody has 5 turns or 4 turns of burns. And then when the ultimate happens, watch this. See, that's a ton of damage. Like, I even had my healer straight up die. So maybe having, you know, if you want to manual a little bit, you can do that. But having this extra shield, for example, it can help us. It does depend a little bit of the timing. It depends if you have a little bit more healing. But this is what you should do, for example. Like, okay, now I'm straight up dead because, you know, bad timing, not the best characters and all that. And the fact that the 3 people that I'm using in the flame domain are weak, like 3 of my core ones: Hexandra, Nokira, and then the what's his name, Horus. They are weak because they take 30% more damage. So that's another example. Now, if we take ourselves to the frost domain, which is another one that you definitely want to farm, you can go, for example, I think I'm also close to maybe beating stage 3, but for the frost domain, I'm not going to be using him as frost. So I just click him again, go to upgrade, switch his element. I know it might be annoying, but early on, up until you're trying to progress more and have several people of several elements, this is gonna help you a ton. Okay, this is gonna help you progress massively. It's gonna help you like a lot. I'm not even kidding. It's so important that it's crazy. So for example, on stage 2, or is it this stage 3? I think it went to stage 3. It might be tricky, but for example here, the main problems are a little bit away because the boss itself does not do as much damage. What this boss does is cast decrease attack on you. It puts the it puts a shield on itself after it done the decrease attack, so that makes her take less damage. However, if you bring him as frost and some other good combos, you can definitely kill them. It might be a little bit tricky with survivability because, you know, I only have 270s and other 50s. I need to farm more of the flame domain to try and progress more, but this one is actually one of the easiest. And again, having the adventurer the possibility to switch, instead of using him as frost, you can bring him as fire. It will help you with damage. Now, I think what's gonna happen here is the Ushas will hit us, and we're just gonna straight up be dead because they hit so hard it's insane. But this is stage 3, so you know, stage 3 is not as relatable. Stage 2 might be the point where most of you would try, but again, gives you the option to do that. Then if you go into the third one as an example, okay, if we go into the third one, which is going to be the Tempest one, again, in the Tempest domain, your people that are lightning and radiant, this is there behind me, they're gonna be weak against this one because again, they do 30% less damage and take 30% more damage. So for example, in this team, I can go with, instead of bringing my radiant team, which, you know, early on if you did not pull, you don't have radiant, but you can just go with the usual team and you can have, depending on the difficulty, you can have him as fire to help you with more damage, or if you see that you do not survive enough, you just swap him into the frost one. Okay, so that's something that you definitely want to keep in mind. Now, we did not talk about the third one, and the third one is actually the lightning. Okay, so the third one is lightning, and what he brings in this one is some damage, but mostly control. Okay, so for example, this one, he brings 75% chance to stun on his ultimate. On his second skill, he has a 75% chance to inflict blind, which means their basic attacks are not gonna count. And then at the start of the battle, he brings increased speed. Honestly, from the 3, in my opinion, the lightning one is the weakest of them, but this can help you. For example, the ultimate with the stunts can help if you're doing the tower defense modes. Okay, so let's try and look. For example, let me go on the map and grab one of the tower defenses that I tagged and show you as an example of what I mean. Because, you know, the waves keep going. If you don't have enough damage early on, you might not have like 5 DPS, you might just have to use a little bit of your support in your tanks. So for example, let's go over here. I will have to swap obviously my adventurer to lightning. Again, go to upgrade, switch element, and just make him lightning. Boom, switch. Now let's go and let's start. So for example, now we have like this, and that's all my damage. And whatever, doesn't really matter. The thing with the tower defense, because it's not something that you constantly farm, you can easily reset, but you can try and do it like this. You can just try and stop it and only use it when you see that you need it. So for example, if you see that you kill it, you're fine. If not, you can be like, okay, I need to stun this one. Boom. I'm gonna kill it because this one's just too low level, but this is an example where the adventurer can be used as lightning. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it with this one. There's gonna be some more reasons once we open up more stuff in the game. So as an example, one of the first dungeons, which I have not opened today, but I will open today, is going to be the Grave of Venom. Well, what happens in the Grave of Venom? You take a lot of damage. So the best one that you're going to be using there is going to be your adventurer in the ice element, okay? And the reason for that is he's gonna bring you some more survivability, okay, with the shield. So basically just stack attack on him and you're gonna have big shields, but at the same time he's gonna do some pretty good damage with this one. He does some really good damage with this one, especially because you know what, you're gonna be stacking lots of attacks, so this one's gonna be pretty good. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at this for today. I just wanted to show you the importance of having the adventure and, you know, try to take advantage of this one as well. I might make a specific video for the Cliffsider Torrent showing you the, you know, how important and how it can completely change your gameplay and your progress just by using maybe only rares, you know, free epics and only rares to try and beat some other content in the game. But yeah, anyway, leave it in the comments below, guys, if you enjoyed this video. If you want, like, if you have any other questions, if there's anything else you want me to make a video on, just write it down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and yeah, I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care everyone. Bye guys.